So what about the Mundo nerfs? Okay, chat. Let's take a look at this. Riot Proxon, patch 25.13 review. This is the MSI patch. Mundo. Mundo has picked up a ton of attention recently, and while he wins in a rather frustrating manner sometimes by pushing your nexus, fountain diving you, whilst picking up, you know, your mom in a car too, his actual performance metrics aren't quite following along. This is a very kind way of saying he's not winning that many games. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get to your alert in a second. We're waiting a bit longer to actually see where this ends up. Certainly there are a ton of new players on him, thanks to all of the fun videos about him. Smiley face. But not enough to tank his win rate to disagree. Given that his mastery curve is rather shallow. Now, let me put this in other words. There are a few soldiers on the Rift that are arguably first-timing Mundo and losing a few games. However, I will say this. I am not actually advocating for people to run it down on Mundo, okay? Or running it down in general. Like, when I say lower the win rate, okay? I don't mean that you guys should actually be trying to lose games when playing Mundo. But, listen. The funny thing is, right? I feel like us together, have kind of gaslit the entire community into believing that Mundo is actually easy to play.
Good morning, sir.
What if I told you that, you know, Riot says here in very kind words that given that his mastery curve is rather shallow, the win rate is actually pretty low. In other words, you all suck dick at the game. Like, I'm gonna be honest, that's kind of what Riot is saying in kind of words, right? Or you guys are doing a really good job at masking your true intentions. That's another point. On another note though, I actually think Mundo is relatively hard to play. For reference, using Mundo's W is actually pretty skill intensive. So I think what we need to do, guys, is I'll be releasing, like I've said this before, I was gonna do it at 300k, we're almost at 340k, I don't know how, like, we're climbing so fast on YouTube, but past that point, I haven't had time. Yesterday I just needed the first day where I actually sat down on the sofa and like did nothing to make the Mundo guide. I'm gonna be making a Mundo guide and I'll explain you guys everything, like how to actually properly push, because even though Mundo's champion kit is very simplistic and he's a very easy champion, like Riot Game says, he is susceptibly, like, is that the word? He's like hidden hard to play, if that makes sense. Because you need to know quite some things on Mundo. Yeah. Mundo as skilled as Garen, I'll go as far as to say that Mundo is even more skilled to play than Garen. Deceptively. But it's funny though how funny is it how Riot put this down, by the way. We're waiting a bit longer to actually see where this ends up. Certainly there are tons of new players on him. Thanks to all of the new videos about him. Smiley face. But not enough to tank his win rate to this degree, given that his mastery curve is rather shallow. And again, that's a very kind way of saying Mundo is an easy champion to play, but you guys all suck at the game. True or false?